chairman House of Representatives Committee on Commerce and leader of the Southwest Caucus, Mr. Olufemi Fakeye, in this interview with Leke Bayu, explains why the federal government should expand the tax net to Nigerians in the lower class. During the second reading of the 2022 appropriation bill, you said more Nigerians should pay tax, especially artisans and others in the lower class. Why did you say so, considering the hardship caused by the ailing economy? What is a budget? It is a program of how an entity, be that your household or my household, a community or an organization, but in this case, a country intends to perform financially in a given period, typically coming period. These are the expenses that I want to do and the things I will like to achieve. But this is also how I intend to raise the money when what you want to do has been condensed into figures. When you say, okay, these are my expenditure profile items, the next question will be, how do I fund these expenses? When you are able to balance those things, then you have a balanced budget. For the past few years in this country, we have been unable to balance the budget unless we borrow, and that was the context when I rose up to say we have to find a way to ensure that the social contract is upheld for this country, just as it is done in any other country that I know. That is this man Fakeye that is now talking. No, they will just be talking yaba yaba yaba. You want to copy other countries, but the good things that other countries are doing to their citizens for them to benefit from, you will never do that. But when it comes to, when the government is trying to get taxes to get some revenue from the masses, they must have watered the ground, and the people will not even resist in the first place, because they know that whatever that is being collected or is gotten from them, the government will put it in use. But reverse is the case here. You want to copy other people, not even minding the situation of the people that you are trying to extract and extract money from. Go back to the time when people like me were growing up. I grew up in the 50s before the advent of the military into policies. I recall that everybody around me, whenever they were farmers, tailors, barbers, the tax, it was a flat rate. It was not something that was based upon what the end then, but everybody paid tax. Over the past few years, somehow it has been presumed that no, we don't pay tax anymore unless we are salary earners or we belong to a certain category of income earners. If you are a bank manager, director, or an engineer or a graduate, it turns out that these people that we are focusing on as taxpayers are the ones that are easily brought into the tax net. When I work here, this place where I work becomes my tax collection agency for government. It takes responsibility for drawing my tax and remitting it to the government. That is why I stand in terms of personal income tax in Nigeria. It is not enough because only about 5 to 10% of tax-paying individuals in Nigeria belong to that salary cadre. What about the 80 to 90% others who are self-employed, doing different things and doing very well? Will they pay anything to the government? I will ask you people, journalists, to go and do a little research into that question. By the way, beyond salary earners, who are the other individuals who live in Nigeria that pay tax? So my contention is that if we are really hemorrhaging every year for the government, for example, the year 2020 that is in question, the total budget that the government wants to fund is 16.39 trillion naira. The expected revenue is 10.13 trillion naira. Right there and there, I have a problem, because the revenue expectation of 10.1 trillion naira happens to be about 61.8% of the total budget they are looking for. The translation for me is that somebody has to bring up the shortfall. How? We are to borrow 38.2%. When you know what this country is going through right now, The better part of our revenue goes for debt servicing from the previous years. We are borrowing domestically and globally in foreign currencies. So I'm not even focusing on just the federal government, because when we look at the debt, they include the debt of even subnationals, but somehow in finance they are classified as foreign borrowings, and everything is on the neck of the federal government. All the state borrowings are also going into the books of the federal government. You see these people? It's so many nonsense things that Nigerians cannot even, they cannot even fathom. They cannot even fathom. If you are borrowing because you are trying to defend the poor that they said I am trying to harass, if because they are too poor and we will rather borrow in naira and foreign currencies, fine. We are going from day to day and year to year. But guess what? It is telling on the living standard of everybody, because now debt servicing is taking more money than the government have left to fund capital projects. Again, this so-called poor that you are trying to defend, because I said the honestness, their children and grandchildren will be the ones to repay these loans that the federal government is taking. Is Nigeria an independent country? We just celebrated the 61st independence anniversary a couple of weeks ago. The question is, how independent are we if we are borrowing? If we are borrowing in naira, it is far enough or fair enough. But I lose my sleep when we borrow in foreign currencies also. If you say today we are going to borrow in dollars at 410 naira exchange rate, that is modulated rate from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The question is, when we are going to pay back in 3 to 7 years time, what is the naira rate on that day that you want to service that debt down the road? Oh my God. What is the problem? Since from time immemorial, these are the English they've been speaking. They devalue, they will tell you devalue. Once you devalue, it will attract investors. Devalue, it will attract investors. The few ones they talk about that they are paying the taxes, with those ones, what is what is the business of those who have been paying taxes and they cannot see what the taxes are being used for? What is their business that you are not collecting taxes from other people, but they themselves, they want to see what you have been using their taxes to do? But reverse is the case. Tell me the work that all these government officials, the politicians at all levels, tell me the kind of work they are doing to warrant them to be collecting those omugos salaries and the benefits and what have you, remunerations they are getting. Tell me, can we equate what they are collecting as salaries and allowances to the job they are doing? It is zero. It is zero. So all this English means nothing to Nigerians. It means nothing. They don't understand what you are trying to say. Things are so expensive. The Nigerian people, the regular people, have been the one bearing the brunt right from time immemorial. They have never enjoyed anything, and every now and then you would say that they have not sacrificed enough. They have not done this enough. Payments of tax by the poor can only come to reality when the basic amenities of life are provided, especially constant supply of electricity. We don't even go there. We don't even talk about it. The leaders, especially the president, should get rid of corruption. There should be scapegoats which will serve as deterrent to others. The government pays lip service to corruption. It is going to find ways of curbing corruption, but what about the politicians, the civil servants who are specialists in corrupt practices? They know how to manipulate corruption without being caught. When this set of people are caught, arraigned in courts of law, jailed, if found guilty, others will sit up and sit tight.